Alright, I need to say this right now. Out of every project DC has announced recently, Clayface was probably one of the last ones I expected to actually get me excited. And yet somehow, after seeing that first look, this might have become one of the most interesting things in the entire new DC universe. Because what they showed here does not feel like a normal comic book movie. It doesn't feel safe. It doesn't feel overly polished. And honestly, it doesn't even feel like something DC would usually make. It feels disturbing. It feels tragic. And for the first time in a while, it feels like DC may finally understand that not every character needs to be turned into a giant CGI action movie. Some characters need something darker, something smaller, something more personal. And Clayface might be exactly that. Because honestly, this could be one of the biggest surprises DC has had in years. When that footage started, the first thing that hit me was the tone. And that matters. Because the tone immediately tells you what kind of movie this wants to be. And this wasn't trying to be fun. It wasn't trying to be colorful. It wasn't trying to reassure people. It was trying to make people uncomfortable. That quick shot of the face shifting, the skin moving, the eyes changing. That was unsettling. And I mean genuinely unsettling. It reminded me more of a psychological horror film than a superhero movie. And that's exactly why it worked. Because Clayface as a character has always had horror potential. The problem is, for years, most adaptations never fully committed to that side of him. They treated him like the shape-shifting Batman villain. But if you really think about what this character is, he's terrifying. A man whose body is literally losing its identity. A person who can't trust his own face. That's not just a villain, that's body horror. And from the very first look, that seems to be exactly what this movie understands. A lot of people hear Clayface movie and immediately say, who asked for this? And honestly, that's fair, because on paper it sounds random. But sometimes the characters people doubt the most become the best films. Nobody believed in until it made over $1 billion. Nobody expected to become one of DC's strongest projects. And sometimes lesser-known characters work better because filmmakers have freedom. There's less baggage, less fan expectation, less pressure to copy previous versions. That gives creators room to build something fresh, and Clayface is actually perfect for that. There's a genuinely tragic character there. A failed actor. A broken man. Someone obsessed with becoming somebody else because he can't live with who he really is. That can become something deeper than just another villain origin. That can become emotional. And if they handle that right, people may connect with this movie more than they expect. And honestly, the biggest reason I'm paying attention? Because Reeves understands Gotham in a way very few directors do. When he didn't just make another Batman movie. He made Gotham feel sick. The city felt dirty, broken, corrupt, alive. And that matters because Clayface needs that kind of world. You can't put a character like this into something bright and glossy. He belongs in shadows. He belongs in rain-soaked alleys. He belongs in a city where everyone already feels half broken before the monster even appears. And Reeves understands how to create that atmosphere. That's why this project suddenly feels much more serious than people expected. Because in the right hands, Clayface stops being silly and starts becoming disturbing. What really makes this exciting for me is that DC may finally be embracing horror. And they should. Because comic books have always had horror elements. Especially Batman's world. Think about Gotham's villains. Scarecrow equals psychological terror. Man-Bat, creature horror. Professor Pyke, nightmare fuel. Clayface, body horror. But movies usually smooth all that out. They make everything cleaner, more commercial, more marketable. And that can make everything feel the same. But Clayface, you can't sanitize him too much. His entire character is uncomfortable. That transformation scene alone tells me they may actually lean into identity loss, obsession, fear, isolation, and physical transformation. And if they fully commit, this might feel closer to horror films like Or than a traditional DC film. And honestly, that could be exactly what this universe needs. Superhero fatigue is real. People are tired of watching the same movie. Same jokes, same ending, same skybeam. Same giant CGI battle. Audiences want variety now, and DC has a chance to do something Marvel rarely does anymore. Make each project feel different. If Superman feels cosmic, and Batman feels detective-driven, then Clayface can become the horror side of the universe. And that actually makes the whole franchise feel bigger. Because not every story should feel the same. That's how you make a world feel alive. And fan reaction has been fascinating, because people seem split. One side is saying, "This looks incredible." The other side is saying, "Why are we getting Clayface before bigger characters?" And I understand both sides. Because yes, DC still has major characters people want to see. Taking risks is exactly what this universe needs. Because safe choices are part of what hurt DC before. Trying to copy trends, trying to chase other studios, trying to play catch-up. That never worked. But when DC gets weird, that's when things get interesting. And Clayface definitely feels weird. In a good way. Now the real question, could this movie actually succeed? I think yes. Maybe not as a billion-dollar blockbuster, but as a critical success? Absolutely. Because smaller, darker films can win people over fast if they feel unique. Look at, that movie wasn't driven by spectacle. It was driven by character. And if Clayface becomes a character study first, monster movie second, it could absolutely surprise people. And sometimes the movies nobody expects end up becoming the ones everyone talks about. That said, there are still risks, big ones, because if the script isn't strong, this could easily become ridiculous. Clayface is a hard character to balance. Too serious? It feels pretentious. Too comic accurate? It risks feeling goofy. Too much CGI? It loses impact. Too little emotion? Nobody cares. This movie has to walk a very fine line. And that's why the first trailer matters so much. Because the first full trailer will tell us whether this is a gimmick or something genuinely special. But right now, I'll say this. Clayface went from a project I barely cared about to one of the DC projects I'm watching the closest. Because for once, DC might be doing something bold. And whether this works or fails, I'd rather see bold than boring every single time. But that's just me. What do you think? Did the first look sell you on Clayface? Or are you still not convinced this movie should even exist? Drop your thoughts below. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.